It's going to be a very interesting season. In the art world, landscapes don't play a big role as much as other type of paintings do. Although the works of impressionists are landscapes. In any case, that becomes a little bit interesting to develop a new approach, sharing my experiences with you so you can find your own way through my mistakes or through my aha moments. I want to get you into doing a different type of landscapes, not just the landscapes that you see and you paint. So you keep on looking at it, looking, painting, looking, painting. This is not creativity. You're copying. You're copying the nature. You're copying whatever you copy. It's a copying. How can be a copy a creative process? God did not copy the universe or whatever the power was. I believe that the only way to learn is to practice. So I do things that I have no idea how to do. I never follow manuals for anything. Uh, Recently, I've been baking bread without knowing how you make bread. And now I've got to a point that my friends suggest that, oh, you're going to start a bakery. This is amazing. But I love that. This is what creative process is. If you want to have fun, this is what you're going to do. Stop following a map of anything. Stop following any direction. Stop following manuals. Be you. Be a human being and use your great power that is inside you to create the things. So this is what we're going to be doing with the landscapes. It's to be a part of the development of nature, not be just observant. Be a part of it. Participate in developing the nature in the mind of people, in the mind of your audiences. Let them see a different way of looking in their environment. Let them see beauty in whatever they look at, instead of criticism and all of these things that comes with it. I do things that I don't know how to do. I learned that from Picasso. That was one of the major things that I learned from Picasso. Do things that you don't know how to do. That is how you learn. That is how you learn as a human being, as a creative being. So that's what we're going to be doing in these series. Now I see some new faces and all of that. I guess you have already introduced yourselves, but I want to have a little bit of a different introduction. I want you to tell me what you are, not who you are, not where you come from. I'm not interested in any of those things. I'm interested in what is that you are? What are you? So just tell me in one word or one sentence or however you want to do it. Let's share, every one of you, just let's share together, what are we? That means that if you were 5 years old and somebody asks you, what are you going to be when you grow up? What are you going to be? That's what I'm looking for. What is that you truly, forgetting about everything else, What is that you want to be? Rosario, can you handle that, please?
Okay. Um, I am a lover and a muse.
Someone once described me, and I think it's right, as a shamanic teacher. I help people grow and become themselves through whatever content that I am teaching.
Well, what we've talked about before is being a sort of soul or a spirit in a human, having a human experience. So I've given up trying to think what I'm going to be. I'm 17. I still haven't decided what I'm going to be when I grow up. So I just want to keep having the new experiences.
I'm a spiritual being and a light worker, and I love it.
Hi, y'all. I'm Dorinda, and I'm a storyteller of the soul.
I grow up, I am going to be wildly creative.
And I am a divine spark in the light of God.
I am clearly a creative brainstormer, so I was trying to think of all these things that I am, but I am a circle of joy at the amusement park of light souls who are creative, light, and beautiful.
I think I have a fairy heart, but I'm a healing alchemist. I like to combine all sorts of elements of healing and swirl them together.
I am an explorer and a chef.
Well, I'm a tarot reader and I want to help people change their minds. And I'm doing this class to open my creativity and learn to be playful.
I'm Marianne, and I am a being in service to the divine creative flow.
Yeah, I love to share the beauty of art and literature in creative ways. And if I have enough, I'm not sure if it's all right to say enough talent or whatever to create art myself as well. But I see myself mostly sharing the beauty of art and literature in every form.
I think that's everyone. We're just waiting for the people that will come in that jumped out and jumped back in.
All right, good. I'm not the Pope, and I don't claim to be, but I come from the heart. So I speak to your heart, and I'm going to be blessing every one of you to be exactly what you want to be, what you are, and you introduce yourself as. Now, the only thing that you got to do is you got to act like it. You got to do things towards it. Don't just be a dreamer. So from this moment on, from the beginning of this series, begin to act like what you want to be. The first thing that is going to happen, your brain gets fooled because you can fool your brain by acting like something. And your brain is going to believe it, that you are that. So it begins to develop the steps towards that direction, and that is fun. It doesn't matter when or if you get to anything. You're in there, you're getting to there already. The only place that you gotta have a short memory is when you're creating. Nothing of the past, nothing of the future. At this moment, you are God and you're creating the universe. If you look at it that way, you develop yourself, you become the great masters. As simple as that. But be it. Don't dream of being it. Be it. Become it. In this series, The approach that I have is going to be a little bit different. I want to inspire you. I don't want to teach you. I want to inspire you to do something that you don't know how to do. This is the best way that I can teach you. So the way I'm going to do it is I make a statement. I say something regarding how you do landscape painting. Actually, I'm telling you that. And I even show you a sample of it. I'm going to tell you what inspiring landscapes are. What is to paint the nature of nature. And this is going to be coming throughout the whole season. And then I show you what your assignment is, and I will demonstrate for you. And then we go to the next thing. Is there any question? Is it clear what we're going to be doing? Good. Pay attention to the statements. One of them is going to inspire you. Express your feeling of nature in a way that you like, whether it's realistic or abstract. So combine what is beautiful to you, what is beautiful to you personally, with the spirit of the nature. And these are the samples that I'm showing you, so you know what I'm talking about. Next. Paint a landscape that reflects how you feel, not what you see. Don't copy what you see. Paint nature the way it makes you feel. Make the landscape painting simple. Don't make it too complex. Use bold colors to reflect the deeper spiritual significance of your painting. Feel the love for what you're painting. Feel the love for nature. Feel the love for nature and paint. Don't copy it. Feel your love for the person if you want to do a portrait or whatever. Next. Look for the elements of color and shapes. Look for the elements. Little pieces, little colors, the little forms. Discover similarity between the forms of nature and human body. Feel that connection between human, because we are a part of the nature. We are the nature. So feel that connection. Next. Look for the abstraction in the nature. Stop thinking what it is. Look for what is there that inspires you. What is there that makes a connection with you? Go beyond reality. Use the similarity of your landscape with the other physical forms. Discover and reflect forms that metaphorically mirror the unity of the feminine in you and the nature. Reflect the forms that you can feel the connection with. Develop an idea that is yours, that is your personal language, that is you. Develop that and express your feeling and ideas that way in the nature, in your landscape. Something that is you, something that reflects you in the nature. Show the vastness of nature. And show the extent of your response to it. See the vastness of nature and add your response to the vastness of nature in it. Next. Make your landscapes in a way that the viewer feels like being in the nature, just being a part of that whole painting. Create calmness, create serenity in your landscapes. Make people feel relaxed with it. Paint the landscape as if it's a tribute to the sensual vitality and ecstasy of the nature. Use the natural and organic forms to produce shapes and colors that suggest forms of nature. Personalize the image. Personalize the image. Paint the shapes that you like and camouflage those shapes with the elements of nature. Go beyond just being inspired by nature. Collaborate with it. Be a part of it. Be a part of the expansion of the flower. Be a part of the life of the flower. Make your landscapes joyful. Bring joy to people as they look at it. And this one is one of the most important parts. Reflect your emotion on the canvas as a way of self-expression. If you're pissed off about something, do that on the canvas. Don't keep it in your mind. Deliver it into the canvas. Or if you're in love with something or whatever it is that is there, express your emotion as a part of the painting. That's your self-expression. Let your landscapes invite viewers to enter a place of refuge and inspiration. Let them come into your painting as a place of refuge, as a place to get inspired by. Handle the natural landscape delicately. Don't tear it into pieces. Be delicate with it. When your brush lands on the canvas, land it with delicacy. Strong, but delicate. This week's artwork is to paint a landscape inspired by the painting style of the American master Georgia O'Keeffe. What makes her landscapes unique is her way of merging a modern aesthetic with her own interest in capturing the spirit of nature. O'Keeffe's landscapes are inspirational because she paints nature in a way that reflects how it makes her feel rather than copying what she sees. In the first glance, her landscapes seem simple, but when we pay attention to her bold choice of colors, we discover the deeper spiritual significance of the paintings. Georgia O'Keeffe's landscapes reveal her love for nature. She is constantly searching for the elements of colors and shapes in every scene. She's after finding the similarity between the shapes of nature and the human body to reflect them in her paintings. The abstracting aspects of nature are attractive to her. Her landscapes have a surreal quality that seems familiar with our physical forms. By painting female genitalia in a metaphoric form, she mirrors the unity of the feminine with nature. In the landscapes that she painted in New Mexico, she develops a personal language that clearly expresses her feelings and ideas. She emphasizes the vastness of the meadows, combined with the extent of her own response to it. She offers the viewer a powerful sense of being one with nature. There's a calmness and serenity in Georgia O'Keeffe's landscapes. They are tributes to the sensual vitality and ecstasy of nature. She uses the natural and organic shapes to produce images and colors that suggest forms of nature. Georgia O'Keeffe has a very personal and subjective view of natural life. She goes beyond just being inspired by nature. She collaborates with it. one cannot help but feel a certain joy when viewing O'Keeffe's landscapes. The tremendous appreciation of nature reflects O'Keeffe's emotion in her paintings as a way of self-expression. Her paintings invite us to enter a place of refuge and inspiration. Georgia O'Keeffe is known today as a major master painter of the 20th century through her inspirational paintings and delicate handling of natural landscape. I feel like saying goodbye and going back to my studio to paint. But meanwhile, I want to leave the cafe open for you to discuss your reflection on what you saw and what you heard.
Thank you.
The paintings are extraordinary. I can feel them, and I also feel like, wow, I really want to go paint right now.
Well, I told you that I got to work on designing a way of teaching because I'm not a teacher. So I want to design a way of teaching you that gets you inspired to paint. Learning how to paint is easy. You can do it in 1 hour. Just get on the internet and know how to mix colors, get everything that you want in a paint in 1 hour. You know the whole thing. Being inspired to paint is what you need. Getting to paint is what you need. Taking a first step to paint is what you need. Taking the first step towards who you are is what you need. So I go after inspiring you, and this is my design of teaching process that I hope to share it with other teachers in the future when I'm gone, so they would get into know a way of making people get inspired and showing the inspirations at the same time.
I thought that was an amazing exercise, what you did. First, going through that list of phrases associated with the paintings and then showing us the video. It's like it gave me insight into how you create those amazing videos. It's like with each painting you had a phrase, and then I think you put it together in the whole narration. So that was super interesting. I really appreciated that. O'Keeffe's works, O'Keeffe is one of my favorite artists. And actually here in Milwaukee at our art museum, they have quite a room full of O'Keeffe. And I was recently there, and they take me to a different world, which is great. Want to go there. And I will add that if anybody has the opportunity to come to Chicago this summer, there is an O'Keeffe exhibit at the Art Institute in Chicago all summer. However, it is her New York time frame, painting the skyscrapers. But that's interesting too. It's, a different landscape, but she takes it to some really interesting places. So anyway, I'm excited about this one.
I love O'Keeffe as well.
Randy, get closer to the microphone.
Okay, I said I love O'Keeffe as well. She is organic and feminine, and she takes color and uses it to, to introduce the mood. She just embodies the divine feminine in her work and creation. She was so involved and enmeshed in the nature that she painted. You could feel her heart and soul come straight through onto the canvas. I've been to her museum, and I spent hours and hours. I just kept going back day after day when I was in that area, and I love her work. She was before her time, I think, as a woman, and painting genitalia, my God, she was, and for flowers, she was touted well for that, but I think she was pretty brave. So I loved her depiction of the divine feminine and Mother Nature.
I second that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just said I second that.
I find it incredibly interesting that she was able to paint the vastness and the grandeur, and then literally go on the other end of the telescope and paint these amazing flowers with such, and I'll use the word, intimate detail that gave you that same feeling of the grandeur of nature in its smallest form. It's really interesting. It's one end or the other, and good at both.
I really like the simplicity. And there is, like other people mentioned, it's really delicate, and I can see or feel her femininity and how it's delicate. And at the same time, there's also an eroticism to what she's painting. But it's subtle, sort of. I also love the harmony of colors in all of her painting. And it's really like, I was like, oh, I really want to paint. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, I feel like I really enjoyed the process of viewing each slide with your remarks, and then the video. It just brought it all together, and I feel like you know, O'Keeffe is one of those artists that you when you see her, you love her, but when you have an experience like this, you know why you love her, you appreciate why. And I think one thing that stood out from your video and sharing the art is, you know, how much she gave herself and women and artists, you know, that permission to express the feeling of what she was painting, the feeling of you know, I guess what our aim here, you know, the essence, really the essence of what she's painting. And that made it erotic, or that made it sensual, or that made it whatever people want to experience it. I don't think she was going for that. I think maybe she was, I don't know. But I think she just gave herself a lot of permission to pour those emotions on the canvas. And I really enjoyed that. I really, really enjoy that.
Yeah, Rosario, I feel that way too. And I think that why we're all so inspired is because the way that she conveys not only nature's heart essence, but combined with hers, that it's an alchemy that's really special. And the curves that she uses along with the colors, it invites you in like you're following a story, and then it kind of wraps you in. Like I felt like I was getting lost in that video. Like I was just like, oh, I can feel the colors, you know? It takes you to another world. Rondi, I went to the New Mexico museum of hers, and I was there for forever. Like if my mom hadn't, you know, needed to go, I probably would have just camped out there and stayed for days, you know? But you get lost because she invites you. It's a pulling, an attraction, and yeah, very special.
I hadn't seen any of her paintings yet, but it was the first time. And before that, I had some ideas in my head of like how to paint what is in my mind. And I was like, when I don't have the technique, how am I able to do that? And then I saw how fearlessly she has painted all these paintings, and there is simplicity with all this creativity, and it inspired me that I can do it in a way that I am able to. So I'm so happy that I saw them. Thank you for introducing her paintings.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, thank you, Rassouli. I appreciated, I know you say you don't like to call it teaching, but the storytelling of the method of showing her paintings and giving us one statement on each one. And as I was listening to the story and to your words, I, as a recovering left brain addict lawyer, was writing down things. and taking iPhone shots so that I could match them up. And then, so I have them now in my left brain, but then when you showed them in the video and there was kind of a rhythm to it, and I knew the words because I wrote them down and I could enter into the painting, it was really effective. Because when I do reflections in the morning, a spiritual contemplative reflection, I like to read a text, a paragraph or two, which is left side, I'm thinking. And then when I read it again and I'm feeling it, I enjoyed that method of seeing her art from both my left brain and my right brain, and then coming in as a whole. And now I want to get on my canvas too. So thank you for that.
I love that expression, Dorinda. It was great. I'm married to one of those. Except he's not a lawyer, he's an accountant.
Yes, it's a one day at a time situation.
One thing that I wanted to say about, because you're talking about Georgia O'Keeffe, there is to me, the most important aspect of her work is she concentrates. She doesn't concentrate. The point of connection in the nature is almost always revealed to her. Nature comes together at one point. So when you're looking at the mountains, for example, there is the height and there is the low. There is all those enormous vastness and strength of the mountain. All of them come together at one point. She sees that connection always in everything that she does. And then also on the genitalia, the genitalia is what? It's the flower of the human body. It's the blooming aspect. It's a flower of human body, and that she sees that in the nature as the human body, and she transforms the genitalia of the human body into the nature as being the genitalia of the nature. It is amazing, I think. So that's why her work are just out of this world. We connect with it so much. We surrender to it. And like Leslie was saying about the enormity of what she sees in the nature is there. And then all those small little details. Those small little details are us as we belong into the landscape of the nature, in the landscape of the life. So it's all beautifully reflected in her work, where we are and what we belong to. And so that I can't even explain how I appreciate and studied this artist a while ago, like about a couple of years ago, and just fell in love with it.
What I really want to go into is to see what you learned through this whole process of the discussion we had, the images that you saw, and O'Keeffe's works that you saw. What was the inspiring thing that you learned that you could reflect in your landscapes? Just one word or one thing, however you want to do it, doesn't really matter, that you learn to add to your landscape paintings.
Everything flowed so beautifully, and I just wanted to absorb it all, and it made me feel so good and happy. And then in contrast, I was thinking about this painting that I was doing last week, and I was furious about something, and I was thinking, how would I even begin to express that in a Georgia O'Keeffe landscape? And I haven't come up with an answer, but it was just a beautiful flow and energy of her soul.
Yeah, I'm glad that you could not find the answer to your question, because that wasn't a question, that was an inspiration that you had, and the answer that you're looking for is going to come from your painting. So just transfer this thing in a reverse way and let it land on the canvas, and then you can find the answer in the painting that you've done. but something that inspired you that you're going to be reflecting that from now on in your landscape paintings is what I'm after. Anybody else?
For me, it was create calmness and serenity.
Beautiful. That's what I'm looking for. That
Yes.
type of, you know,
Yeah.
inspiration. Let's all go through. Everybody, give us your comment about it. What it offered you.
For
The
me, it was
Go ahead.
create simple, play with the line, color harmony, and love of nature.
All right. When you're looking at the color harmony, it's
I just love the color.
yeah. Remember the yeah, but the colors. You see how O'Keeffe saw colors? She looked into the details of nature to find color. She did not see the overall color. She looked into the details to find the color that she wanted. This is a similar way that she probably learned it from Gauguin's idea. Gauguin did the same thing. Gauguin said, when you look at a landscape, the color that you feel like it has, give ultimate power to that color in your painting. Just see color that you see in there, that you feel like it's like when you see, let's say, the sky of the morning, when you see the, let's say, the purple, little purple in the sky of the morning, just paint the whole thing very strong purple.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, that's what he does in his paintings, and that's what O'Keeffe learned from possibly from him as well. In case of O'Keeffe's landscape, you feel that the footprints of Gauguin's concept in the paintings. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I think for me, what overwhelmed me was the depth of beauty, love, and spirituality in such simplicity. I just found that mind blowing. You know, you had the simplicity of it, and yet the depth of the beauty and the love and the spirituality. And I think I found that very inspirational. You know, to try and do this in very simple. You know, that simplicity, but combined with that strength, it was quite overwhelming for me to see that.
Yeah. In the painting, that is basically beige and green, that landscape, vast landscape that she has painted, shows the vastness of the landscape. Then she puts these little trees in there to compare herself with the landscape, to bring herself into it.
Yes.
The importance of that little tree that it shows right there. It stands so powerful. And she's done it in many of her paintings. Anybody else?
I was struck by her use of shapes and how shapes, you know, we can find shapes in nature and depict them in a non-literal way. Feel challenged to do that, and I don't know how, but yeah.
I'm glad that you don't know how.
Yes.
It'll help you a lot. So when you paint, you get learned as you paint.
What I don't know how is, and what I'd like to find out on the canvas is to paint nature strong yet delicate. Like I want to see what that looks like when I go on the canvas.
Beautiful, beautiful. Strength means that when your brush lands on the canvas, you're going to be totally sure that it is painting something. Don't just keep on smearing it. Or don't just do a little bit in here. Just wait until the paint in your brush is ready to land on the canvas. That means land in it with strength because you see the importance of it. But then when you land it delicately, land it softly. So it spreads softly on your canvas. Anybody else wants to share what you
I
got?
feel like you gave us enough for the whole session today. It's like I want to take each one of those
Really?
and go and paint to the canvas. If I had to choose one, I think it would be when you say paint the nature of nature, how I hear that is paint the essence of nature. I was really struck. I think Georgia O'Keeffe was already here because last night I painted that.
Wow.
Just doodling. And
Wow.
it brought up two things for me. The power in the simplicity, which she does so masterfully. And a question that I've been sitting with since through this last week with our previous artist. And is it okay to ask this now?
Sure.
I had this problem and of where I do these little watercolor sketches, and then it's like, okay, how do I retain that energy and that vibrancy that came through in the little sketch onto a canvas? And I know that William Shackleton, in doing some more research, he did a lot of studies. So it's like, how do you keep that energy alive when you're taking it from something small into a camp? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Actually, that's a similar concept that Geeti and I were talking about it a couple of nights ago regarding how do you develop that emotion when it's gone? When you have a feeling and you're painting, and then the feeling is not there. Suddenly you hear a news, or suddenly something happens and you're out of that feeling. How do you get that thing going? And this one I want you to pay attention to. In order for you to feel something, your senses, your five senses, have to work together. If your five senses work together, your feeling develops. But if they're not, you cannot develop the feeling. It goes into thought. It's not feeling. So if you really want to feel the landscape, you got to go have all of your five senses. You got to see it, you got to hear it, you got to taste it, you got to touch it. You got to go through the whole process. Once you go through, if you take a flower and go through these process where you're one with it, with the flower, then your feeling takes over. And that emotion is what makes you create fabulous paintings. It's not about knowing how to mix colors. You got to find your way of mixing colors, the way you like, not the way that I like, the way you like. So I inspire you to find the way you like. That's why I'm asking you, from these comments that you heard, what stood strong in you that next time when you're in front of the canvas, you start painting that way? Because it doesn't matter whether you are in the nature or you're in the studio. If you're one with the nature, nature is not separate from you because you're one with it. So when you are there, like go to a park, go to somewhere, or just take a flower or take a stone or something and really truly feel it for whatever period it is. Feel it. And how you feel it? 5 senses gotta work. Okay? Just any element, connect with it through your 5 senses, and then you take it, you come into the studio and you start painting. Constable, with those magnificent landscapes that he's done, he didn't do it in the landscape like Impressionists did. He did it in the studio.
I feel like that's why she's so inspiring because uh you know, every corner of her painting is saturated with emotion. She's able to paint, and like even if it's simple or if it's whatever the case, if it looks like a lot of space, the emotion is so present. And that really, I want to learn to paint like that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, see, when you start with the emotion, your painting works. But if you're looking for what comes later, it wouldn't work. When I was practicing architecture, I would just design something that had nothing to do with the project. You know, something completely different. And then the challenge was to put it back into the space. So when you want to paint, don't stand in front of your canvas with the limits of the canvas. Don't look at it that way. Stand in front of it with the unlimited space. And that way, when you start painting, you're free. You're not limited. You're not worried that, oh, I'm getting to the edge in here. What am I going to do now? Connect with it directly. That's how you can develop it through your feeling. Anybody else? But I want you to reflect on what you got. Otherwise, I'll go to sleep as well.
Joy.
Yes, go ahead.
I got joy. And when you showed the painting with the yellow, and it just immediately invoked the joy and the magic, the light within nature for me. So I'm very excited. And I think I already said, like, the contours of Georgia O'Keeffe are very enticing, and they are erotic because they bring you into her world and into nature completely in the full essence. So yeah, as soon as we're finished here, I'm going to go paint.
Wonderful. I want to make it very clear. I've been going through it in the past as well. This whole idea of eroticism with a painting. And let's pay a little bit more attention to that. See, there is a surface pornography that is different from the depth of love emotion. That's different. When an artist is painting pornography, is just painting the surface. But when an artist is painting what it might be in your mind pornography, it's not. It turns you on, it gets you excited, but not because of the image that you see. It's because the connection of the image with the emotion that puts you into that level. So when she paints a vagina, is not to show something erotic. It's to show the connection of life with female body. It's a different approach. But because the approach is not intending, it becomes sensual. It becomes exciting. That's where the difference comes. It's not about painting a descriptive object. It's about painting your emotion in a descriptive way.
Wow, so you're just saying something very powerful there. So almost like if you're painting landscapes like in a very surface level, you know, disconnected, that's a more like pornographic, you know, approach versus making that connection and going, you know, with the essence and the feeling of like, okay, what is this? Like, who, you know, what is this cup? What is this? What is this? What is the feeling when it was made, when I'm touching it, when I'm drinking out of it?
Mm.
Oh, did you just say something about my writing?
Yeah, Leslie is a wonderful being, a professor and a great writer, and she has suddenly get into this whole visual world that has attracted her so much. Uh, just same way as I described the last time, as like Emile Zola and the Impressionists. Suddenly she comes into this whole feeling of, wow, there's a world in there that was draped, that now she connects with it. So yeah, that's where your writing is. So about your feeling, what you get from this whole concept to reflect in your writing or painting, both.
I would say 10 to 15 years ago, I was writing like crazy. 15 years ago, I was writing like crazy. And then the world happened, got in the way, got incredibly busy, got essentially had no time to create. By the way, that's BS, but I think you catch what I'm saying. You can make time to create, but it wasn't a priority, and things kind of fell to the bottom. And these last two sets of sessions that I actually have been a part of have literally lifted the veil, so to speak. And as a result of the last two folks, last two artists, the visual side of my brain just went crazy. And for 3 days, I had 2 lines of a poem in my head. And I couldn't go further. And then I sat down and after the last class, and I sat down on the couch and literally 20 minutes later had a full poem. And so, Rassouli, would you like me to read it at this point?
Please. I was hoping that you would.
Yeah, Leslie, I've been looking so forward to this.
Oh. It wasn't me who observed the blue silver discs of the ocean playing amongst themselves, or the latte-like wave tops pause before turning inward on themselves, or the sun's sword of golden orange reach from horizon to shore, or the angel breath mist float above the wetland willows, or sand-bound oak trunk felled by a decade-old hurricane. It wasn't me that observed them. It was my soul opening up to their healing energy.
Mm.
Wow, wonderful.
Wow. So beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the journey of creativity that
Yeah.
you're describing so beautifully.
Beautiful.
Beautifully, yes.
If I may, it was sensual, that like your poetry and her paintings, and you used the word, Rassouli, to use our 5 senses to capture the emotion and the energy to put on the canvas. You said use your 5 senses. And then when you were contrasting pornography from the surface with the sensuality of how it feels. I looked at this word sensual means my senses are in it. I'm feeling it. I'm not just using it as an object. So porn versus sensuality means I'm all up in it, experiencing it. So now I'm hooked on this word sensual, and I can use that when I paint.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now,
There's also
what it means too, I love that. Because sensual is really bringing the senses together. It's beautiful. Go ahead.
sorry, because you were talking about this concept. There is this essay by D.H. Lawrence on pornography, and it talks about this. So it just reminded me of that. So I wanted to say that if you like, you can also have a look on that. It's really interesting.
Thank you.
What did you get from the whole concept that you would add to your paintings now?
Well, the painting with the mountain and a huge flower, that one, it showed me courage. I was like, I am not able to do that. Like, I will only paint a small flower there because, I don't know, she's fearless and I'm not like that. I restrict myself in order to express myself. I'm not that good yet, but that drew my attention a lot.
I would just try to rework your way of description in relationship to your creative process, because then your mind will pick it, and you would, from there on, you would take a whole different journey. It's not that I am not able to. Eliminate that from your vocabulary.
Okay, yeah. From now on. Yeah.
There is no such thing as I'm not able to. You have not tested yourself. Rumi has a beautiful verse that I love. He says, تو هنوز ناپدیدی ز درون خود چه دیدی? You have not even appeared yet.
Yes.
You know, I have no idea what is inside you. What makes you? What is your essence? So never use that I don't know, or I'm
All
not
right.
capable. Put it in your vocabulary that from now on know that you have not tried it yet.
Yeah. And I also have to work on my English because last time I spoke was 10 months ago.
Wow.
So.
Oh, you're doing amazing.
You're doing beautiful. You must have studied in the US.
No.
No?
No,
Wow.
only I've always lived here in Iran, but I study English literature. Yeah.
Now.
Your accent's perfect.
That shows that you're able to do anything.
Thank you.
Anything. I mean, you speak right now as if you're an American, and you have not even been in this country.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I can speak. What really resonates for me was the distinction between pornography and sensuality. But for me, that transfers to our relationships with our wives and husbands, and the difference between that type of sexuality is the shallowness versus the deep, the intimacy, into me see that you're looking into the other person's soul, down into their heart, into their essence. And what I will take with me into the painting experience is the lovemaking with the nature in that intimacy, where I can into me see and she can into me see me, so that it's an exchange of energy, it's a flow, it's an infinity symbol, it's forever. It's not fleeting it is fleeting in the moment because everything is in the moment, but what I mean by the eternal is that love is real. You love somebody, it doesn't go away when you break up with that person, you're not with that. The love is there, it's real. And the love that we feel from Mother Nature on a daily basis that bring us joy and happiness and fulfillment and soothes our soul when we're in sorrow is the eternal. It is the eternal flame that lives in each of us and is we are each a part.
She felt herself as being the nature. That's how she painted. She was the nature painting itself. That's why I said in one of those statements that she did not just paint it, she continued being one with it.
Honestly, the only one of the things that stands out about Georgia is exactly what you said at the start, where you got to paint how you feel. And she has a really famous quote that says, "You can't paint New York, you can only paint how it feels." So that's what sticks to me about this artist. And I'm really looking forward to it because some of my favorite paintings to do is landscapes. When I started these sessions, I did a lot of landscapes and I felt that was some of my best paintings. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think the element of the wizards and the witches, that love for nature, where you really feel like, you're not, it's almost like her paintings are really just an expression as well of her love and the intimacy that she experiences when she's in the elements. And that's a very, then it creates this magical visual experience for us. So she brings that element too, I think.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons to love her.
One thing that really stands out in her paintings, and I'd like for you to pay attention to yourself as well. There's something that you love, some physical object, some physical concept that you love. Let's say that you want to buy an automobile, okay? You want to buy a Ford. Suddenly, when you're driving, you see so many Fords on the street that you never noticed before because you're, connecting with it that way. She does the same thing with nature. She has certain forms and elements that she loves. She's looking for, just like somebody who wants to buy a Ford. She's looking for that in nature. So she walks around, she sees things, and she discovers the elements that she connects with. And she begins the painting with those elements and develops it that way. You understand? So it's all about her emotion painting, not about looking at something and painting. She has the landscape of, in her New Mexico home. She had this huge window that opens to that landscape of the mountain that you see in her paintings and the trees in there. And she's seeing that regularly, and she is a part of it, living with it, being a part of it, like a tree that is growing in that landscape. And the same thing, she is a part of that. So when she's painting, is the nature painting. It's not her painting, because she's a part of the nature. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
When you're a part of something and painting, it's that something that is painting, is not you. And when you make that connection, whatever is let's say love, you want to paint love, you can only paint love when you're part of love. Otherwise, read 10,000 books or see 10,000 images. Not going to work on you. You got to feel love and paint love. You got to feel love and write about love. Rumi says, when I began to write about love, the pen broke.
Mm.
Yeah.
Only love can write love. The pen breaks. And the same thing happens with an artist and painting. Only emotion can reflect emotion. You can't describe emotion. You cannot describe sensuality. Your emotion describes it in your painting, not painting pornography. A painted pornography gives a second of attention, but beyond that, does not live with you. You cannot reflect it as an emotion. And it's the emotion that makes life joyful. Emotion is the color in life. You take emotion away and everything is black and white. It's your emotion, it's your feeling that puts the color in nature. So don't see the colors that are in nature. See the nature of the colors. Feel that and reflect it. So Gauguin paints the whole grass red. Maybe he saw a little bit of an image of red somewhere in there, in the grass. And he decided, I'm going to do this pure red in there to paint it that way. And O'Keeffe takes the peak of the mountain that is usually furthest in perspective and darkens that. In a regular painting, landscape painting, you would light that, would make it much lighter to go away, to go far further away. But she takes it and she makes it much darker than the rest of the whole thing. That is not what we see. This is how we feel. She puts the darkness to the peak of the mountain.
Some people view her art as abstract, but I feel like it's her interpretation of her, like what you're saying, reflecting her emotions on the canvas when she focuses on a specific subject. So maybe you can talk about that after the video.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, in one of the statements, I said that she's looking for abstraction in nature.
Mm.
And that is very important. In her series of skyscrapers of New York, it's all about abstraction in New York. It's not to emphasize anything else. She develops it into this abstract forms. She sees it in nature. Still, she's painting the nature in abstraction. So in many of her paintings, even paintings of New Mexico, you see that abstraction that she sees in nature. So her abstract paintings are some just focusing on details that she sees, just like flowers. She said that if I painted flowers the way they look, nobody would look at my paintings. But I went into deeper and deeper to discover a depth in the flowers that nobody had seen. So these play shops, you're going to be getting to know the landscape approach of 9 more artists. And you would, by the time that you go through these, and actually if you paint, you will see a tremendous change in your way of seeing things, your way of reflecting on things. A major part of the program is that paint and submit at least one of them per week, but paint as many as you want. And if you really don't have the canvases or whatever it is, paint on the same canvas again and again and again. It's not about making a painting. It's about enjoying to paint, having fun painting. So finish a painting today, go over the same canvas to another painting, another painting, especially if you really love a painting, go over it. Because then your longing for what you love is going to be built up in you. So when you love a work that you've done, instead of hanging to it, get rid of it. Get rid of it, because the longing is what develops love. It's not the satisfaction. You're going to long for love to enjoy. It's not the satisfaction. You know, you get a longing, you get the act of love, and you get the afterward thing. Now, if the afterward thing is with satisfaction, you're not going to be longing for it as much. It's going to start fading away. So develop more longing by eliminating the things that you love. Just go over it, paint again and again. So I want you to do at least a painting and submit it to Rosario before 6 o'clock on Friday. So we organize them and we'll discuss them throughout the next session. And I give you the instructions about the certain painting that you would be doing. So this week, your instruction is to take one of the aspects of what you found in O'Keeffe's paintings and paint it. But the way you paint it is whether you're going in your patio or somewhere, at least have your windows open so you would be feeling the nature, whatever it is, okay? Backyard, wherever it is. If you have no access to any of those, connect with a part of nature through your 5 senses and then paint. Connect through 5 senses. So let's say you find a flower, or you find a view, or you find something that attracted you. Spend some time, get your 5 senses connected with it. If it's a bush, if it's a tree, touch it, feel it, taste it. Just make all the connections with it and then paint. And the way you paint is simple. First, you come up with a bunch of lines. So I do a series of lines, very simple. However you want to do it, doesn't matter. But since I've seen the paintings of O'Keeffe, I feel like this whole V-shaped images that I can see it over and over in O'Keeffe's work. So I've done that one. And next, I want you to paint that with solid colors. Solid colors. You don't have to do any details or anything. Just paint solid colors. Then begin to reflect what you love to do in your painting. Start playing with that. I love these spirals. So I start playing with these spirals in there and giving a little playful, this always playing, okay? So I keep on playing something like that with it. And then I go on to the other parts, and I end up with something like that as my landscape. Okay, very simple. Now let's go through the whole, all four of them once again. First the drawings, then the solid colors, then you start playing with details the way you like, however you like, doesn't matter, doesn't have to look like the mountain or anything. And then you end up with a painting. Now this painting has nothing to do with O'Keeffe's paintings, but it was inspired by her. So I did not copy her, I was inspired by her. That's what I want you to do. Get inspired and just loosen up into who you are and what you like to do. And you end up with hopefully several paintings, but send at least one to Rosario. Is there any question? You're all clear about where we're going from here?
Yes, thank you.
I just wanted to.
You've been awfully quiet. You want to say anything?
Was that me?
Please, yeah, please, no, Louise, please unmute.
Okay, yes, Louise. Yeah.
Thank you. Please unmute yourself. Thank you. And I got to unmute my phone. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just absorbing everything that I'm seeing and everything that you're saying. And the beautiful paintings, they feed your soul. They're very, very deep and very beautifully colored.
All right. Okay. Have a beautiful, creative week. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.